Are you unbreakable? What does that mean? Unbreakable how? Unbreakable in your life, unbreakable in your work. Well, we're going to try and solve some of your problems today and make you unbreakable if you are. Because, we're all breakable at one time or another in our lives, right? Well, hopefully we can help you to survive.
Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh, no, not I will survive.
I'll tell you, we've had a lot of folks and a lot of stories across the country of survival, especially with hurricanes, Harvey and then Irma and God knows what else. So, but do you want to take the next step in improving your own life? Do you feel like you're stagnant and don't know how to move on and up? Well, not to worry. Karl Romain, lifestyle coach, author, and speaker, will take you on a great journey. So if you're looking to take the next step to improve your life, then Karl's book, Unbreakable, will be your key. Now, he came back from a devastating car crash himself to becoming a world kung fu champion to dealing with the death of his best friend. I mean, he's been through it, too. So if he can, you can, too. Let's reset your life. Even Dr. Oz listened to Karl. Karl, nice to have you with us on the show.
Thank you. It was such a great introduction. I appreciate that.
Well, so many terrible things are happening right now. People are, facing, first of all, they faced Hurricane Harvey, devastated Texas. Now Irma devastated Florida and into the Carolinas and even up into Georgia. I mean, it doesn't seem to end, Karl. It just doesn't.
No, and sometimes life feels that way. Sometimes we're confronted with many challenges on many different levels, and that's why I wrote the book. Life was pretty smooth until I got into my middle age, and all kinds of challenges showed up. Actually, even before then, just even setting the goal to win the world championships and overcoming, a very bad car accident. All these things kind of impacted my life and impacted my thinking.
So what happened? What kind of car crash?
Well, when I was a senior in high school, I wrote in my high school yearbook that I wanted to be a world champion by age 22. Mm-hmm. And basically, I started on my path of doing that. I went out to California, trained with a world champion out there, came back to New York. I was working, competing. I got ranked in the top 25 in my region, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And I thought I was on my way. And one day I was driving to work. I was crossing the Tappan Zee Bridge, which is, I think it just got renamed.
Yeah.
Governor Cuomo Bridge now. And a driver cut me off. My car cut across 2 lanes, hit the divider, and I suffered many injuries. The only thing that saved my life was my seatbelt.
Wow.
And I was told that day that I'd never be able to do martial arts again. And I drifted. I was lost for a while. I was confused about what path to take, but I knew that where I was in a good place. I started going to tournaments. I was still in the neck brace watching other people win tournaments that I knew I could win because I had beaten some of these people before in competition. And after that experience, I made a decision. And my decision was, after talking to a good friend, to basically go back to competition because I really believed there was a way for me to overcome and still be a champion. And to make a long story short, I did that, and by age 22, like I said in my high school yearbook, I went back, I represented the United States in international competition and became a world champion and made my dreams come true. And what I learned was that my passion led me to my purpose, and that my purpose in life was about inspiring people to live the life of their dreams. And so that's what I do today.
And sometimes you have to change it or, alter it a little bit because, thank God you were able to come back from the physical injuries that you had. But what if you would not have been able to come back from those physical injuries? Could you, do you think, in your own mind, refocus yourself into something else that would be just as good?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I believe that life is about resetting, reinventing yourself. I think that was probably the best advice anybody ever gave me. I was going through a challenging time in my life, and I got to a point where I had to sell off some of my businesses, and one of my attorneys looked at me and said, you know what, just reinvent yourself. You can always start over. You already know what it takes to be successful. And so I did. And at that point, I decided, I'd focus on coaching and martial arts and writing books and being a public speaker. And so I transformed my life from that point and just kind of never went back.
You found your own niche, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Now, you also had the death of a friend. What happened with that?
I did. My best friend, Jennifer, she was a big part of my life. We were in each other's wedding, like very uniquely in each other's weddings. You know, she was on my side with the guys, and I was on her side with the girls. But no, I did not wear a skirt.
Why not?
Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just did.
Yeah.
But, you know, when she decided to have kids, she wanted to stay home with her kids. And I said, well, I got this company. It's growing. Why don't you come work for me? And I said, we get along like two peas in a pod anyway. And her husband, Dave, was supportive of it. And so she did. And we worked together for 25 years side by side. And we built a really nice company. And we accomplished a lot of our goals and helped a lot of people along the way. And about 5-6 years ago, Jen had breast cancer.
Oh, jeez.
She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we thought we beat it the first time. It went into remission, and we celebrated. We even had a little fundraiser at the school, and her children came, and they talked about it and everything, and we raised some money to give to the Breast Cancer Society. And then one day I was talking to her, and she said, you know, I feel like there's something wrong, and I'm not sure what it is, and I feel like I need to go back and get another examination.
Oh, no.
And she did, and the breast cancer had returned, but this time it metastasized and went to her brain. And she tried different experimental things and went through all kinds of stuff, and eventually, you know, she passed. She didn't make it. I remember she told me, she texted me one night and said the doctors gave her 3 to 6 months to live, and that was October 26th. On November 16th, she passed away, so she didn't even make it a month.
You know, I'm a firm believer that you got to do everything and consider today the best day of your life and do everything you can, because, and I make light of this to a certain extent, but also I think it's kind of serious. I think there's a big old calendar in the sky. Mm-hmm. And, man, there's a date, and I don't care where you are, who you are, what you're doing, how much money you have, doesn't make any difference. When your number comes up, that's it.
It's your time. So, and she did, you know, Jen, you know, if you were to ask Jen, you know, what was her life purpose, she would tell you to love her friends and her family as best as she could. And we all believe that she did that. And part of our goal is to carry that forward. You know, for me, it's been challenging. You know, I miss her every day because I worked with her side by side every day. We spoke every day. She was my best friend. And, you know, to carry that forward and be able to share with everybody her story and her legacy and how, you know, I found purpose. And part of that purpose was writing this book to help, you know, to help others who are going through challenges to overcome those challenges.
And it's not, how do I explain this? It's not only if it's a physical thing or a psychological thing. It's a combination. Either one is as devastating as the other.
Yeah, it's physical, it's emotional, it's, you know, it's everything. And understanding how to, you know, sometimes, like one chapter in the book is about breathing, because I've found just sometimes taking a step back and taking a breath really makes a difference in how you feel and helping you to regroup and think about what the next step should be in this process for you.
And sometimes and we don't allow ourselves to do that. We're so doggone busy. Americans are busy. I have a very good friend who's a psychologist and been for years, and she used a term that I have used on the air over and over again because it makes such a good sense. It's called monkey mind. The brain is busy all the time, constantly, can't stop. And sometimes you just got to say, stop, you know, and assess where you are and what you're doing and where you're going. You can't do that when your brain is bouncing all over the place.
You really can't, you know, and sometimes you can be confused by a situation. I had a woman who came to me. She was very stressed out with her work, and she loved her work, but it was causing this, is this something I should do, this confusion in her life. And so we talked about it, and I was training her and teaching her in Tai Chi, and we came up with a plan. And the suggestion was that instead of driving into work, maybe she should just commute to work, and during her commute time, just practice deep breath and meditation. And she found that it really just changed her life.
No kidding.
And sometimes just changing your approach to something can really make a difference. And so within the book, I talk about these stories, and I give all kinds of tips and ideas that people can try. There's a lot of coaching exercises if they want to take themselves through and kind of self-coach, so to speak, but they'll learn a lot about themselves as they go through the process.
Now, you say you use the word unbreakable, the name of your book, but everybody is breakable. It's just being able to bounce back, isn't it?
It's a play on words, yes.
Yeah.
The idea is about going beyond resiliency to the point where, you're going to break, you're going to fall, but you can rise again. You can get up, you can keep moving forward, you can reset, you can restore, you can reinvent. And that's the real idea behind being unbreakable. It's not that you won't break, but it's knowing that I can break, but I can come back from that.
Yeah. And I would think bottom line, too, is you got to want to change. So many people, they get in a rut, and maybe it gets comfortable. I don't know what it is. Or maybe they have a fear of trying to break out. But you got to want to do it.
You have to have the spirit of determination, and you need some positive input. You are the sum total of the 5 people you always hang out with. And so making sure that you have good people around you is one of the concepts that I talk about. And many people want to support you. You just want to make sure that they're not trying to fix you. I believe that people are perfect just the way they are, and sometimes we just need some encouragement. And so even in my story, I talk about that. People were kind of surprised by how I broke when my friend passed away. And what I needed most in that moment was just someone to really understand where I was and help me understand where I was. And I found that, one of my students came in one day, and we were supposed to do Tai Chi, and unlike everybody else, she didn't ask me how I was doing. She said, why don't we just talk for a moment? I said, okay. I thought she was going to tell me that she needed help with something and she wanted some coaching, but it turned out she just wanted to talk to me, and she shared with me her story and her challenge of how she lost her first husband. And it was great. It was like in that moment I really connected with her, and she was able to help me understand my feelings and my situation and how I can move forward with my situation. So sometimes that's all it takes.
Karl, why do you think that some people they feel like they haven't reached their or found their true purpose, but maybe they don't even want to seek it out? Why not?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think everybody's uniquely different. I think for some people, they may be confused about, what their purpose is and what it is that they truly want in life. There's some exercises I have in the book to help you kind of try to figure that out for yourself. And I think some people are very content with their life just the way it is, and that's okay. But if you really want to move forward, if you want to stretch yourself, if you want to make forward progress, if you want to challenge yourself, I think you need to seek out, what is the purpose of our life? Why has God created us, and what is it that I'm meant to do with my life? What I have found is that your life purpose is usually a life issue that you struggle with, and in discovering what your purpose is, you'll be able to help many other people. It's really about contribution and giving back.
But you got to get off your duff and do it.
Yes, you do. There's some serious work involved.
Yeah, and also you got to be realistic. We'd all like to be a billionaire. Ain't gonna happen. So figure something else out that's gonna make you happy, right?
Right, and will money make you happy? It'll make you happier, but there's some things of more substance that you can pursue that will probably bring a lot of fulfillment to your life.
Well, and the thing is, look at how many people have become multi. I mean, $200-300 million. I mean, that's a heck of a good start. In lotteries, and then they commit suicide or they lose it all. It's like you said, it isn't always the money. It can make you a little happier, maybe temporarily, but then what? What do you have other than bucks?
Right, and that's why if you seek fulfillment, I believe that will make a big difference for you.
Absolutely.
Sometimes when you make a lot of money or you're in the limelight, it just puts a magnifying glass on you. It just kind of magnifies some of the issues you're struggling with. And so if you're not dealing with those issues, if you're not seeking fulfillment, I think that's when you get into trouble with those things.
So, what kind of questions should you sit down and look in the mirror and talk to yourself about to figure out why you haven't found your true purpose or why you're not moving forward?
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the first things I say is that there's basically 6 principles to reset your life and become unbreakable. And the first one is truth. Sometimes you have to sit down with yourself and just be honest and figure out, what is my truth? There's the mask I wear, and maybe I'm not being 100% authentic with other people, but I need to be honest with myself.
That's hard.
So it's very hard, sure. But remember what you said. It's about doing the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got to roll up your sleeves, and there's some questions in here that you can ask yourself about, what your truth is.
Yeah.
There's an exercise I give in here, and it starts with what we call the circle of individual perspective, which will help you to have an overview of your life. So if you follow the exercise, you'll have a good idea of, how you feel about the 6 basic areas of your life: your career, relationships, health, financial, spiritual life, your sense of well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that and you have that perspective, you'll be able to go to a place of truth and ask yourself some questions to help you figure out what it is you really want.
Okay. Then number 2?
And number 2 is your thoughts. Thoughts are things, and whatever you think upon will grow. Thoughts can be very, very powerful. And if you allow a thought to take root, it becomes a belief.
Mm-hmm.
The example I like to use is that, if you put brown sunglasses on, you see the world as brown. If you put blue sunglasses on, you see the world as blue. If you put clear glasses on, you see the world clearly. And our beliefs are a lot like that. They act like a filter through which we see the world and experience the world. So your thoughts are the seed for all of that to grow. So you really need to pay attention to your thoughts and the results that you're getting in your life.
And, of course, if you do the negative stuff, it's going to put you in a basket with negative thoughts.
It sure will.
Okay. Number 3.
Number 3 is about purpose, discovering your big why. What is your mission? What are you here to accomplish? How do I find a sense of fulfillment? How do I go beyond, the fame or the money or whatever it is that I've been chasing, to actually figure out what it is that's going to make me feel whole, right? So, and I believe you find that when you find your life purpose.
You bet. Number 4
is choice. So once you have your truth, your thoughts, and your purpose in alignment, I believe it's there that we now know how to choose. Now we know where to go, what we want to accomplish. And so it's easier to make a choice. Constantly in our life, we're in a place of choice. Every minute of the day, we have to reaffirm our commitment to do something or be something, right? So you're constantly in a place of choice. Well, how do you know what to choose? I believe you know what to choose when your truth, your thoughts, and your purpose all line up together and you live a congruent life.
I mean, we make hundreds of choices every day.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
Yeah, so it's constant, Okay, number 5.
Number 5 is action.
Oh.
Oops. Action. Action's about doing the work.
I know.
It's about having a plan. I say all the time, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many parts to our action plan that we have to consider. We have to consider what the obstacles are and how we're going to overcome them. We have to have a goal. We have to have a specific deadline of when we'll accomplish that goal. We need to know who will support us, because you need people to help you to get where you want to go. Everything I've accomplished in my life is because I had the support of others. The other part of action for me is the word act. And the question that I ask is, who are you being? We're always in the process of becoming something. And part of becoming something is based on the actions that we take. So how are you acting? Are you behaving like a person who wants to be a world champion? All right? Are your actions consistent with that, or are they not?
Oh, gotcha. Because, there are a lot of people, they say, I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't go there, or I should have done this. You're going to have a really shitty day. I'm serious. Okay, number 6.
Number 6 is accountability.
Oh.
Accountability is a tough one for a lot of people. But what I have found, and I'm sure you've found, and people who prescribe to the idea of coaching have found, that when they allow themselves to be accountable for their actions, for the things they say they want, for the things they're going to do, they've always been more successful. And that's been true in my life. Every time I've worked with a coach and just submitted myself and just said, you know what, this is what I want to achieve, and I need you to hold me to the fire. If I say I'm going to do something, make sure I follow through. I've always been more successful. So it might be a good friend, a coach, someone you trust, a mentor, that you should allow yourself to be not only accountable to them, but to yourself.
But, Karl, that is a booger one, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's so much easier to have somebody else tell you what you should do, because then if you try it and it doesn't work, you've got someone to blame. If you do it, like you said, accountability on your own, and it doesn't work, you have no one to blame but yourself. And it's not a blame thing, but you're taking responsibility. So then you move on. Yeah.
But that's what makes a responsible adult, is taking responsibility. This is a lesson that we need to learn, and if we want to be a better society, I believe taking responsibility for our actions and the results we're getting in our life is one of the best ways to do that. I also think when you take responsibility, you recognize, okay, I made these choices. I can always make another choice.
There you go.
And so there's some freedom in that as well.
So step one, is it, go through these 6 and figure out who and what and where we are?
Absolutely. Step one is, again, start with the truth. Go through these 6 principles. And as you go through these 6 principles, I have different exercises for each one.
Oh, okay.
And you'll start to recognize for yourself your own programming, your own thinking, and the things or the areas that make you unhappy or that you want to work on.
And stop letting somebody else tell you what you should do. I mean, parents always want their kids to be successful, right? Be a doctor, be a lawyer, and all this. And probably that kid will be the unhappiest kid in the whole world if they follow some of that stuff. So
unhappiest adult.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're told what to do, or they push them to be in sports because the parent couldn't make sports, so now they live through their kid. Don't do that. Let your child be who they are and what they are, and you be what you should be as an adult. Don't try and live through somebody else's life.
I coach a lot of adults that find themselves in midlife, and they're in this crisis of identity. And they're struggling because they've made choices based on, what their parents told them they should do, and they wanted to do something else, and now they're in a place where they're making money, they're doing this, they have family, but they're so unhappy.
That's sad.
And it's a lot harder to make those choices when you have a lot of responsibilities. And so we, through coaching, I try to find ways to help them through that, obviously.
Good for you.
It is a sad place to be when you reach that point in your life and you're,
and you're miserable.
You're miserable. Yeah.
Now, you have a website, don't you, Karl?
I do. For the book or for myself? Or
both.
For coaching? Okay, great. So for the book, the website is unbreakableBeyondResiliency.com.
Okay.
And for me, you can find me on daylighttraining.com, and that is a coaching website where you can read about my coaching, my seminars, my retreat, and if you want to work with me, you can reach me directly through there. The phone number is 201-888-2122.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being with us. Good stuff.
Thank you.
We got to just get people motivated. Get up, do it. Just make it happen.
Absolutely. And you can find the book on Amazon as well. Fantastic.
Thanks, Karl. Appreciate it, and look forward to having you back again.
Yes, same here.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Karl Romain, name of the book, Unbreakable. Let's take the leap on Popoff.